heard, or doubt, or boredom, or seeing or hearing. It's just dhammas arising by conditions, not belonging to anyone.
That is why,
Sarah,
that is why it's so good that Ajahn reminds us all the time of the asanas, which already arise 3 moments after seeing or hearing by conditions.
Sarah, could you just go over the definition of Upanasaya and Kojara? What do those two
Yes.
words mean?
Right. So gotra, it means object, like aramana. So it's actually the resort or the field of what is experienced. So it's another word for aramana. But in this particular context of Upanisya Gotra, it's referring to the object that can be the object of understanding, which is why the Ajahn mentioned it's the object that can only be explained by the Buddha as being the object of understanding. So visible object that is seen now, usually it's just the object of attachment and ignorance and that which is taken for something. But when one has heard about the Dhamma and one hears the word visible object or sound, it can be the object of understanding. Then it is the gochara, the object of that understanding. And upanisya, nisya means support, like we have a condition, nisya pachya, support, condition. And upa means strong or decisive, like upanisya pachya, natural decisive support condition. So it's the object which is the strong support for understanding at that moment by being understood. So actually it's referring to pariyatti understanding. Like now, if we hear about seeing, there can be understanding at this very moment that it's just a Dhamma, just that reality which experiences seeing, different from the understanding we had before we heard the Buddha's words. Of course, we can hear the word seeing and it may be meaningless, there may just be ignorance. Then it's not the Upanisya Gotra. So it's only Upanisya Gotra, the decisive object, support object, only when at moments of understanding. So this is the understanding that has to accumulate of different realities by becoming more and more familiar with those realities, so that that understanding becomes a protection. Araka means protection, protection from wrong view and other kinds of akusala, and leading to the third gochara, or pani bandha. Bandha means binding. Nibbanda means not binding. So the strong, it refers to the object, the gochara, which is the strong, and how it has to be supported by the paramis. The paramis are the protection that develop together with the understanding in order for there to be that direct understanding. And I think it's a good point that Ajahn was making at moments of understanding reality, no matter intellectually or direct understanding. There's no thought about whether it is Upanibandha or Araka or what it is. It's just the moment of understanding. But behind the scenes, that understanding has to develop and accumulate in this way.
And Satipatthana, one of the meanings of Satipatthana is the object of
Right.
Sati. And that's
Yes.
there's a different way of explaining.
Yes, so that is actually the Gochara. And one of the Sampajanyas, one of the 4 Sampajanyas is Gochara Sampajanya. So it's referring then to the direct awareness and direct understanding of the reality. So it actually all ties in together.
Yeah.
Sarah, the Visuddhimagga translates Upanibandha as anchoring.
Yes.
So what is your comment on this?
Well, I think it's so it's the strong, not binding. So I don't know. It depends what you understand by anchoring. So I can't say. I don't know how they get anchoring, but you can say that when at moment something earlier, I thought.
I suppose only that it seems that when understanding is very weak, and for example, visible object arises, so we have an intellectual understanding around that, but the truth of the moment is that it is people and things that are seen. And I think, Ajahn, what I'm taking from what you're saying is that, in fact, that is useful to have that understanding. The understanding that the wrong view that we are so attached to, apart from being attached to the actual objects, where the attachment to the wrong view is so strong that even though intellectually we may know that this is visible object, the truth of the moment is that it is people and things. That is useful to know. It may not be be what we want. Knowing the truth of the present moment is I understand that there's a lot of depth in that. I suppose difficult to take on board depth, but very useful.
Remember that the object is so close, not far away to look for it. It depends on understanding only. The truth is the truth. The absolute truth is no self, no one, no thing at all. It's true, but it's so very hard to experience it as it is. That's why when there's great amount of avijja, ignorance from eons and eons, and attachment, the master, the great master, how can there be moment of understanding the truth of it? It has to develop little by little from moment to moment with Viriya Parami, Satya Parami, Khanti Parami, and Adhidana Parami. That's why no doubt about how difficult it is, because no one can do anything, not anyone's in anyone's control at all. But Panya is there. And what is there? Which is there? In the beginning, oh, it's not other thing, it's just this to be known. Only this which appears can be known. That's why it begins to be aware, even very little, even in thought, that it's there. See, the five khandhas, nimitta, and self is still there. And the attention is trying to understand that which is not the five khandhas that one takes for oneself, but one takes for something there, see. That's why it has to begin little by little, depending on conditions. Even that we take for my body is hard, but the soap and the other object is there, hard as well, see. But it depends on no thought about outer and inner. Just that can appear, well, little by little, until right understanding is enough for it to appear just one reality with direct awareness. By then, no doubt about direct awareness, because it's there to be known with the intellectual understanding as Upanishya Kojra and Araka as Parami. So there can be moments to condition such understanding, not just hearing or thinking about it, but it's there to be known little by little. No doubt about that. About Satipatthana, no place, nowhere to go to have it arise, but there must be conditions for its rising, and lopa follows all the way to be known or not known yet as it's there. See, that's why it takes quite a long something there all the time. Like now, I see Kunmev, Sanya is there. It's me who remember. See, that's why if there's not enough understanding of everything as Sappha Parinya, it's impossible to get rid of the idea of self. That's why even it appears well to Vipassana Yana, the first Vipassana Yana cannot let go the whole idea of I until it experiences more. Even so, there must be different level of khanti. So from what Vipassana Yana to what Vipassana Yana is the beginning of khanti, very weak and then stronger and then strong enough to experience all object in daily life, no expectation, no choice, depending on conditions only. What is there by condition? The anatthaness shows itself more and more until all are dhammas, not self. And even just the word appears well, no one can imagine how well it is, because right now it seems well enough for seeing it sees, but seeing with ignorance and seeing with understanding must be quite different. The object itself cannot appear well as it appears to panya, to ignorance. Ignorance cannot understand it at all. So how can it appear so well to know that no one there at all, nothing, only that by panya, through the development of panya. So it must be understanding only. That's why the truth of the object right now cannot be known to the eye, to the wrong understanding, and to attachment, and to ignorance. But when these are less, more moments for kusala, so kusala develops, it gives way, make way for direct awareness to arise. Because in a day, with so many moments of akusala, and akusala cannot make way for sammasati and panya to experience the object, because it's there, cling to that object all the time so much. So how can the proof appear? It can appear only to panya from level of intellectual level pariyatti, so keen, so firm, no doubt about this moment. Only this moment, very short. So how many moments, uncountable, for such rupa to impinge on the eye before it can form up the idea of thing, of people, and so many things around. See, that's why it's so very deep. But it can be understood only by panya from stage to stage, which will letting go the idea of self from stage to stage until the way of our reality. As long as things arise together as something, it's not clear. It's no way to understand the moment when it arises and falls away, which is not the first vipassana jhana. See, even it's clear as vipassana jhana, but it's weak comparing to the other higher understanding. So how great it is to really realize the truth of it, penetrate the truth from this moment to then, to that moment, how long it takes to eradicate the idea of not kunmev. It's only that which is seen, and I see you, your hair, your dress, and everything. Each particle has to impinge on the eye base, arising and falling all the time. So seeing the panya which can penetrate the truth of it. So it appears well to different levels of panya.
And Ajahn, there could never be any thinking about people and things without having heard the teachings of the Buddha. So even having the thought, oh, there is a wrong view about what is appearing, even
Thought about it yet as no self. So it's there, see, unknown until it's known. Everything has to be known completely, perfectly, absolutely, in order to completely, absolutely eradicate the wrong view with avijja, which arises with titi, and vicikicca, no more, about the truth of it. It's true from the very beginning to the end. What Buddha said can be realized as it is, as not self. That's why it is the Four Noble Truths. It is this moment. So Panya develops from this moment. From understanding the right object is not the nimitta, but the nature of reality, which is hidden all the time, as no one. Only different realities, different namas and different rupas. It's so close, not far away, the truth, but avijja cannot understand it at all. That's why Panya begins to know what is ignorance, avijja, at what moment. And when Panya is there, it's different. The nature of it cannot be anything else. Seeing cannot be other thing, cannot be taken for I or he or she. It's only a reality which arises just to see, then gone, never to return in samsara. At moment of thinking about what? Sanya remembers and marks it, and vitakka just touch whatever is object to be known, to be experienced. That's why the 10 citta, Chakku Viññāna, to hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, do not have vitakka cetasika. Only 7 cetasikas are enough to condition the moment of experiencing, at moment of seeing, to arise, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. The other moment needs more cetasika by condition, see. This is the beginning to develop the understanding of paccaya, the second vipassana jhana. Just experience directly the nature of reality is not enough yet to completely eradicate the world of nimitta until it's the world of panya and anicca, dukkha, anatta.
Now, Ajahn, can we say that that sanya conditions wrong view?
Sanya arises with each citta. See, that's the answer. All depends on thinking carefully, wisely. It's your own understanding. Even it's taught, it has to be considered by the person, the one who heard it, develop it, understanding it. Not just believe. And it's now, see? how much or how less understanding of what appears. No one can tell better than oneself. But Panya can begin to develop when there is firm confidence on the truth, Satya. Begins to develop little by little to see the truth until it is Upanibandha Kojara. Directly understand the truth of it as no one. Not me, it's gone. See, everything is gone. Yesterday, completely gone. And today, it's gone from moment to moment until tomorrow. We think about yesterday, which is now, which is tomorrow's yesterday. No more, see. So the truth is no more, just only a moment from moment to moment, gone all the time until tomorrow. Yesterday was yesterday, completely gone. So now, yesterday of tomorrow, it's going away from moment to moment, gone all the time, completely. So just live to understand the truth. It's the best thing in life. No matter how much or little, it depends on conditions. But the more understanding, it's there. Conditions for further understanding, deeper understanding. That's why Citta is different from moment to moment, from eons and eons up till now. And tomorrow,
Wrong.
the opposite reality.
Yes.
And
Yes, it seems as if we must proceed by understanding clearer and clearer the wrongness of taking everything for self.
So each word of the Buddha conditioned the understanding clearer and clearer with wise considering. In Pali, go on please.
And when you were asking about sanya before, so when it is the right understanding, it is the right remembrance, the right sanya at those moments, which is accumulating with the understanding. And when it's the wrong understanding, it's the wrong remembrance, the wrong sanya, which is accumulating, used to marking that object wrongly all the time. So the sanya accumulates either in the right way or the wrong way, depending.
Thank you, Ajahn. I'm sure someone else wants to ask a question. Thank you. Thank you very much.
My great pleasure for anyone who understands the truth. The best thing in one's life, inside, but only that which is experienced, no matter by seeing or hearing or whatever. Same object in the one process. That's why only 10 cittas do not have other cetasikas beside the 7 cetasikas. Enough for kamma to produce the very moment which just see only. No thinking about anything at all, just experience. And when it appears, it's so very short, very rapid. That's why all in darkness. Because the other doorways do not bright or light at all, in dark.
So it's like vitaka kind of takes over from the sense citta.
That's why
seeing
only
and
when
then
it is vipassana jhana, the object appears well in darkness. When it's not through the seeing here, the seeing moment. Only one moment of seeing, just think only one, but it appears all day. So it's like the magician. But Panya can see through whatever appears as it is one by one, clearer.
The moments of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching are weaker citas, and they just experience the visible object or sound or sense object. They don't need the support of any other Chaitasikas other than the 7 universal Chaitasikas. But for the other citas in that sense door process and in the mind door processes, they need Vitaka to lead them to experience the object. Otherwise, without Vitaka, they cannot experience that visible object or sound or whatever object it is. So it's quite different from sanya, which arises with every citta marking and remembering what's experienced. The Vitaka leads the citta and other chaitasikas to experience the object. So, for example, at a moment of right understanding, it needs Vitaka as its support to reach the object, to lead to experience the object. So at every moment, other than seeing and hearing and so on, Vitaka is needed to experience the object.
so now that leads me to think of Jetana, which when it's not kusala or akusala, it's supposedly organizing the other Jetasikas.
Organizing, coordinating them in order so they can arise and
Really differentiate. This is sanya, this is vitaka, this is jetana. I don't know the
I think
panya.
the main point is just to understand at this moment there is the experiencing of the object, and it needs the support of many different chaitasikas, each arising, performing their function, each conditioning each other by sahajata paccaya. So they all condition each other, like the sanya, which Maid mentioned, when it's kusala sanya, it conditions the citta and other chaitasikas in that way to when it marks in a wholesome way. And when it's akusala, the opposite. So vitaka, the same. It can be kusala, vipaka, or kiriya. But when it's kusala, it leads in a wholesome way. And when it's akusala, it leads in an unwholesome way, such as when dealing with anger. So they all perform their function. And the point is just to show that there are all these different nama dhammas arising together, supporting and conditioning each other. No one who can do anything, no one who can control anything. So useless to have any expectations, because it just depends on conditions, what citta and chaitasikas arise at each moment. So it's not a matter of trying to pinpoint or work out what is this or trying to be aware of that, but just to begin to understand that there are these different dhammas working together with their performing their own functions.
Thank you. Thank you, Ajahn.
Leads the panya to understand the object. So they have to develop together.
Right. Thank you.
I have a question on mana, because last time we talked about conceit, mana, and Sarah mentioned there can be conceit also of seeing or hearing. And I think it would be helpful if you can give a few examples of that.
Can it be same question? Are you Nina van Gorkum?
There is no Nina van Gorkum, or an idea.
So there is Nina, see, not the other. No matter what Nina is, it is I, it's me.
Not in reality, but we are used to it.
That's why Nama cannot arise with Titi. Excuse me, Mana cannot arise with Titi at all. Different moment.
True, yeah. But only I was thinking mana of seeing and mana of hearing. I found that a bit difficult.
What is the nature of seeing?
Different ways of I, because
No
it can be
matter,
just click.
no matter
Or-
higher or lower or equal, it's there as mana. That's why the mana cannot be eradicated until Arahata arises. In a day, who knows the mana if it's not strong enough?
I don't understand it yet.
What do you think about I or about me, no matter who say? What do you think about me?
We learn
Is
that
that
it is
mana?
self.
Me? What do you think about me? 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 Who?
Ignorance, just ignorance.
So no intention to understand anything with lopa or attachment. It depends on what can be known now. Mana can be eradicated by Arahatamaka. So can Sotapanna know yet that it's not, even it's not self, but it has conditions for its arising? If Anagami does not know that, no way to become Arahata. But for Sotapanna, only understanding the Panya, that it hasn't been eradicated yet. That's why it needs more understanding of realities to let go the idea of even I with mana is nothing. Anatta, sunyata, all the way. That its growth and cause can be eradicated in the beginning. The more subtle, it can be eradicated later by higher panya. Would you like to have no mana now?
I have no wish really because I don't know much about
No
it.
matter you like to have or not, impossible. It's there by conditions. Depending on whether it's known as it's akusala or whether its unwholesomeness does not appear as an akusala yet. At moment of when it's there, only panya can know everything as it is. From the very beginning on and on, stronger and stronger, until it's so strong at the level of being able to eradicate the root or the akusala. Avijja is completely gone, only at moment of arahata that can eradicate it. If it's not seen, it's there all the time. Like lopa now, or mana now, or ditti now. That's why we talk about what which does not appear now. The Upanishya, the truth, the absolute truth of any reality does not show up yet, as long as it's only the intellectual understanding. But it will lead to moment of direct awareness, little by little. not enough in the beginning. It takes quite a long time, with no expectation, depending on conditions. It indicates that panya is strong and enough little by little to letting go the wanting, attachment, clinging to that which hasn't come yet, that which hasn't conditioned yet, until it's all unexpected arising.
So when intellectual understanding is still weak, we don't know yet.
So nothing to be done. No one can do anything, because actually there are only realities, absolute reality by conditions. That is letting go little by little from the very beginning. So very little, but it's letting go. Not cling to what would be happen when will it arise. No thought about it, because no when. It depends on conditions. Not tomorrow or next month, depending on conditions only. See, that is letting go very little at a time, until it is unexpectedly be there by conditions. The understanding of anatta is firmer little by little from the experience, from the appearance of an object. And the clear appearance is the Upanisya Kojara and Upanibandha Kojara with Araka Kojara.
And Nina, I think that even when the Upanisya Gotra is weak, when the understanding of reality that appears is weak, but even at those moments of understanding, it is known that it is Upanisya Gotra, no matter what words are used. Because
Theory, it's only visible object, it's only sound. So it is not yet Upanisya Gochara. Is that right?
Is it just repeating words, or is there the understanding at that level that this is the truth, this is right? For example, if we hear that it's just sound that's heard now, are we just repeating the words, or is there some understanding even at the beginning that that's correct? If there was no understanding, then I don't think we would be here at all, because if it was just repeating words, no point in hearing or considering more. So there must be some understanding that this is the truth taught by the Buddha, and that it is correct at those moments, so that it leads to hearing and considering and accumulating more understanding. And that is Upanisya.
Yeah, it's not because we learned about Chitta, Cetasika, and Rupa, which are real, that the Buddha taught, and we understand that a little.
Where are they?
Now, at this moment.
See, not known yet, until it's known, unexpectedly. It's the matter of Sankhara Khandha, not Vedana Khandha. "50 Cetasikas."
But even from the beginning, Kanti develops with understanding, and that leads to less and less expectation about what will appear, whether there will be understanding, whether it will be weak or strong, and more contentment. So this is the benefit of Upanisya Gotra that Tam mentioned the other day in the Visuddhimagga, that more and more contentment with whatever is conditioned at this moment.
We don't try to change it.
Because that's the real hindrance to Upanisya Gotra. that it doesn't matter what reality arises, but the hindrance is trying to change it, trying to make it different, trying to select an object.
Yes.
It's the
Is there kanti now?
A little bit.
Is there kanti now? See? It's just not the word. It's seeing, understanding the difficulty of the experiencing the truth. And they can be just develop it against the current of akusala. It's kanti parami. With Viriya Barami, listen and listen, consider and consider, not I, but it's there by correctly to the object only one. It's the moment to develop understanding of such that object, little by little, from time to time. Kanti Barami.
And that's a very good example of Araka Gotra, how the wise intellectual understanding leads to development of paramis such as kanti, and these are the protection from following the wrong way or trying to select an object or having strong akusala or being despondent about what is conditioned at this moment, for example. So that's why the understanding has to develop with the paramis, kanti, from the very beginning.
Are you afraid of akusala?
It has to be known. It's the only task.
Really? When panya is there, it does not fear anything at all, because it's
So when there's understanding, no fear at those moments. It's very helpful.
So Arakagochara is kusala that is conditioned by Upanisaya Gochara. So I would like to understand more the relevance of Gochara in the context of all kusala that are conditioned by understanding. Ajahn ka.
Please repeat that.
Yes. So you said that Araka Gochara is kusala that is conditioned by Upanisaya Gochara, by understanding. When we talk about Araka Gochara, there is mentioning of Gochara. So I would like to understand more about the relevance of Gochara when we talk about Araka Gochara.
Kochara is the object.
Yes.
And when it's moment of panya, it knows what is the upanisya kochara to be. But panya, which knows that it's nothing, it's just a moment, conditioned, no I at all, protects one from clinging to it, just want to go on having akusala. But it depends on conditions. When conditions for akusala is so strong, no one can stop its way to condition more and more akusala. So it depends on how much upanisya kochara can arise to protect that moment until it can be conditioned for direct awareness to begin to understand even akusala at that moment, no matter how strong and how long. But there are still conditions for the Kojara to arise. But no choice. No one can do anything. It depends on what is there, by what level of understanding or what level of accumulation. That's why no matter it's strong or not strong, short or long, Panya can understand it as no one, no self. But before that, it just see the danger of not understanding. But Panya strong enough to arise to understand it as no one. But it cannot stop the conditions for akusala because it's not strong enough. That's why even the beginning of the Upanibandha Kojara, Panya is so weak compared to the accumulation of akusala. See? But Kanti Barami is there, and Panya Barami is there to know that it can understand better when there is more and more condition for whatever arises. It has to arise. Thinking about Angulimala, see, how come to such Panya at that level?
So can we say that Araka Gochara is the protections that is conditioned by the understanding of the object that are taught by the Buddha?
When there is no understanding of the truth at all, there are the realities which are wholesome by conditions to arise, but without the understanding of the truth, which is Upanishya Kojara. So what is better? The kusala with panya or the akusala without panya? And what can, at the end, can eradicate akusala, considering more and more, to understanding it better and better. And that are all 10 paramis, depending on condition at what moment, to be such and such. Why there is dana, see, usually people do not give. But what condition the moment of giving away things, with or without understanding? Because not everyone understands the moment of giving as not self, because of no Upanishya Kojara at all. But when the Upanishya Kojara is there, is it strong enough to condition the moment of kusala to arise more and more than akusala? To be parami, to condition the moment of Upanibandha Kojara. In one's life, when there are moments of akusala all day, can there be moment of Upanibandha Kojara when there is no Upanishya Kojara? Nothing can protect the moment of akusala at all. And even there are many moments of kusala in a day. It depends on Upanishya Kojara, whether it is enough to directly understanding that object as not self, to know that it can be directly experienced when it's developed higher.
And so when it's Upanibandha, it is the reality itself,
And
of the limit of
and
the
it
reality
begins to
itself.
see the danger of akusala. Otherwise, there are conditions for akusala all day. Like today, from morning up to now, more kusala or more akusala. When it's akusala, no araka at all. But when it's there, based on the understanding of no one, no self, it can condition any level of kusala until the moment of Upanibandha Kojara. Because now we understand what is moment of satipatthana, what moment is not satipatthana, but is this enough to condition this moment to be uppanibandha without parami? How come? Can anyone condition direct awareness with understanding when all day full of akusala, different kind, different level, nothing araka from akusala, but the understanding of no such? Otherwise we think just about the upanibandha kojara. One will not think about the parami, just think about the direct understanding, which is impossible. Who can have the understanding against the great moment of akusala? It's there now, see, it's there now. So what can condition moment of uppanibandha kojara? And studying, hearing, considering the teaching is the way to understand, but it depends on whether there is understanding or not. Even the word just explain the truth, but it depends on the accumulation for anyone to understand it clearly, or very roughly, or very little, or very keen, depending on conditions, which has to be also the araka, kojara, from akusala, from all akusala, from mana, from titi, from machiriya, from dosa. That's why those who have wrong view so very strong does not listen to the teachings. Is that enough considerations for it, for its arising?
Ajahn, you said no one can underestimate the Araka Gotra, but I think you mean no one can overestimate it because we don't realize the significance. It's much greater than we think. There has to be much more kanti, there has to be much more virya parami, all the different pyramids. So usually we underestimate
No
what is
matter what the
required.
word is, the truth is there.
So we cannot overestimate how great and important the Araka Gotra is in order for there to be the direct understanding.
What do you mean by overestimate?
It means that usually we think of just a little patience and a little of this and that. So we underestimate what is required, but actually
Underestimate?
we underestimate, so we cannot overestimate. It's much more than we imagine in order for it to be the direct understanding.
Not seeing the benefit of kusala, what is that?
Not seeing the benefit, not realizing how it's much more than we imagine in order for that to be the direct understanding.
That's why the truth is the truth, no matter it's lower or upper.
Yes.
It's the attitude. Yeah, it sees the danger of akusala and the wholesomeness of kusala. Which can condition moment of kusala. Otherwise, there are moments of akusala. And the best is panya, the best Sankhara Dhamma is only Panya, which understands the truth.
And we cannot overestimate how powerful and valuable and useful Panya is. Much greater than we imagine. Much more important than anything else in life.
Can anyone overestimate Panya?
Impossible.
Mm-hmm.